When we think about love, it's one of the most complex and beautiful emotions we can experience. It's the feeling that brings people together, unites hearts, and creates memories that last a lifetime. But with love also comes pain, heartbreak, and the inevitable moments when we find ourselves questioning everything. It's in these moments that many women find themselves caught in a cycle of repeating the same mistakes, especially when it comes to relationships. It's a pattern that's hard to break, even though it's something many are aware of and want to change. But why does this happen? Why do women, despite their best efforts, fall into the same traps time and time again? The first thing to understand is that love isn't something that we can control with the snap of our fingers. We can't simply choose who we fall for, or predict what the future holds with someone we're drawn to. When we meet someone who stirs something inside of us, it's easy to get swept up in the emotions and the idea of a perfect connection. But love, like anything else in life, isn't without its challenges, and sometimes these challenges make us forget about the red flags that are right in front of us. It's not that women don't see them, it's that they often ignore them for the sake of wanting something so deeply. It's this very vulnerability that makes love both beautiful and dangerous. As much as we crave it, we also fear the unknowns that come with it. We've all been there, that feeling of excitement when a relationship begins, but the nagging fear of being hurt or abandoned lingers in the background. So what do we do when we're faced with this fear? We cling to the hope that this time will be different. This time, things will work out, and we won't have to experience the pain of heartbreak again. We believe that the flaws we see in a partner are small enough to overlook, that love will somehow make everything better, and yet, in doing so, we open ourselves up to the possibility of repeating the same mistakes we've made in the past. It's this emotional roller coaster, this push and pull of wanting to be loved and fearing vulnerability, that creates a cycle. This cycle is often rooted in the past, the experiences, the traumas and the patterns we carry with us from previous relationships. For many women, the idea of being alone or unworthy of true love can be so overwhelming that they don't even realize they're compromising themselves for the sake of staying in a relationship that isn't right for them. It's a dangerous mindset, but it's one that many women unknowingly fall into. You see, relationships are a reflection of our internal world. When we struggle with self-worth, or haven't fully healed from past wounds, we often attract partners who mirror those same feelings. For some, this means settling for less than they deserve because they're afraid that no one else will love them. For others, it might mean accepting behavior that they know isn't acceptable, simply because they don't believe they're worthy of anything better. These patterns are learned behaviors, often passed down from family dynamics, cultural expectations, or previous relationship experiences, but they're not set in stone. Recognizing them is the first step to breaking free from the cycle. One of the most heartbreaking realities of this pattern is that women often repeat the same mistakes because they've never truly learned to prioritize themselves. The desire to love and be loved can overshadow the need for self-love, which is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Self-love is not about arrogance or narcissism. It's about understanding your worth, setting boundaries, and knowing when to walk away from something that isn't serving you. But in a world where women are often taught to put others' needs before their own, learning to put yourself first can feel selfish or unnatural. Yet, until this shift happens, the cycle will continue. Many women also repeat the same mistakes because they don't give themselves the space to truly heal. It's tempting to rush into a new relationship in the hopes that it will fill the void left by a previous one. The comfort of someone new can feel like a quick fix, an instant solution to loneliness or heartache. But love isn't a band-aid for emotional wounds. It's a journey of growth and discovery. Healing takes time, and the longer a woman delays that process, the more likely she is to repeat the same mistakes with someone else. It's like putting a patch over a crack in a wall, only to find that the crack grows bigger over time. True healing requires introspection, self-care, and the willingness to face past hurts head-on. Another reason women often repeat the same mistakes in love is the societal pressure to settle down, find a partner, and live the fairy tale. From a young age, women are often fed the narrative that finding love is the ultimate goal. This societal programming can lead many to rush into relationships, ignoring warning signs or red flags in the process. There's a subtle pressure to conform to this idea of a perfect life, even if it means sacrificing their own happiness in the process. In reality, relationships aren't meant to be a means of completing someone else or fulfilling an external expectation. They should be about mutual respect, growth, and partnership. But how can women break this cycle? How can they stop repeating the same mistakes and move forward in healthier, more fulfilling relationships? The first step is to take a step back and examine the pattern. By understanding where they've gone wrong in the past, women can begin to identify the behaviors, choices, and mindsets that have contributed to these cycles. Recognizing the signs of unhealthy relationships is crucial. This means understanding the difference between love and infatuation, passion and obsession, commitment and dependence. It also means learning to trust themselves again. When a woman has been hurt in the past, she may begin to doubt her own instinct. She might question whether she really knows what love is, or whether she's worthy of it at all, but this doubt only perpetuates the cycle. Trusting your gut is essential in making healthier relationship choices, and sometimes, this means walking away from someone who isn't treating you the way you deserve to be treated, no matter how hard it might be. Another essential step is learning how to set boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls. They're simply guidelines that protect our emotional well-being. A woman who is afraid to speak up for herself or allow her partner to walk all over her will inevitably find herself in relationships that drain her. Boundaries allow us to protect our peace and self-worth, and they teach others how to treat. The act of saying no, of asserting your needs, is an act of self-respect, and it's only when we respect ourselves that we can expect others to do the same. The last piece of the puzzle is self-reflection and healing. Instead of jumping into the next relationship, take the time to nurture yourself, heal your wounds, rediscover who you are outside of a relationship, focus on your passions, your career, and your own growth. It's in these moments of self-love and self-discovery that we become whole again. And when we're whole, we no longer need a partner to complete us. We simply want one to walk beside us. Love is a beautiful journey, but it's not always easy. Women repeat the same mistakes in love because they're often blinded by their own desires, fears, and insecurity. But by taking a step back, reevaluating their choices, and prioritizing their own healing, they can break free from this cycle and create a healthier, more fulfilling path forward. It all begins with loving yourself first, knowing your worth, and trusting that the right relationship will come at the right time. Only then can true love flourish. We've all heard the saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yet, when it comes to love, so many women find themselves trapped in this very cycle. They fall into relationships that echo past ones, even when they know deep down that they're repeating the same mistakes. It can feel like a never-ending cycle of disappointment and heartbreak. But the question remains, why does this happen? And why does it seem so difficult to break free from? One of the primary reasons women repeat mistakes in love is due to emotional dependency. Love, in its purest form, should be a partnership, a connection where both people bring something valuable to the table. But for many, the need to feel loved, validated, and cared for can become overpowering. When a woman doesn't feel whole on her own, she may seek validation from a partner who isn't necessarily the right one. Emotional dependency can develop when there's an underlying belief that a relationship is the solution to personal dissatisfaction, loneliness, or self-doubt. The idea is that if someone else loves you, it will fill the void that you feel inside. This dependency can cloud judgment and lead women to choose partners who are emotionally unavailable, unreliable, or simply unkind. These partners may offer temporary comfort, but they rarely provide the lasting fulfillment that women are truly seeking. This is because, no matter how much love or affection they receive from someone else, the internal void remains. No external love can replace the self-love and self-worth that each person must cultivate for themselves. In these situations, the woman may continue to seek validation from unhealthy relationships, hoping for a different outcome, even when deep down she knows that the cycle is repeated. But why is it so difficult to break free from emotional dependency? The answer lies in how we are wired emotionally. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek love and approval from those around us, whether it's from our parents, friends, or later, romantic partners. There's a deep-seated belief that love equals acceptance. For some women, this becomes ingrained in their sense of self. They become so reliant on external sources for affirmation that they lose sight of the importance of internal validation. They may stay in relationships that aren't good for them simply because they feel that being in a relationship is better than being alone. Moreover, the fear of being alone can be paralyzing. Society places immense pressure on women to be in relationships, to find the one, and to settle down. This pressure can make it difficult to walk away from relationships that aren't serving. They might feel like they're running out of time, or like they're missing out on something by not being in a committed relationship. In these cases, staying in a bad relationship often feels less daunting than facing the possibility of being single. But what women fail to realize is that being single is not the same as being lonely. Sometimes the most growth happens when you're alone, when you have the time and space to reconnect with yourself and heal from the wounds of past relationships. The need for approval is also tied to a deep-seated fear of rejection. Rejection is one of the most painful emotions humans can experience. The fear of being rejected can make women stay in relationships that are unhealthy or toxic. They may feel that if they leave, they'll be rejected by the world or by future potential partners. The thought of starting over, of putting themselves out there again, can be overwhelming. This fear of rejection often clouds their judgment, causing them to overlook red flags in a partner or excuse behaviors that they would otherwise find unacceptable. They hold on to the hope that if they just try harder, love more, or give more, things will improve. But the reality is that this kind of thinking often leads to more pain, more disappointment, and more of the same mistakes. Another critical factor in this pattern is the role that childhood experiences play in shaping a woman's relationships in adulthood. Many women are unaware of how much their early experiences with family, particularly with their parents or primary caregivers, influence their relationship choices as adults. Research has shown that the relationships we have with our parents often serve as blueprints for our romantic relationships later in life. If a woman grew up in an environment where love was conditional, inconsistent, or even abusive, she may find herself subconsciously attracted to partners who recreate these dynamics. For example, if a woman's father was emotionally distant or unreliable, she may feel an unconscious pull toward partners who exhibit similar traits. This pattern is often referred to as attachment style theory, which suggests that early relationships with caregivers shape how we attach to others in adulthood. Women with insecure attachment styles, such as anxious or avoidant attachment, may struggle with trusting their partners, becoming overly dependent on them, or withdrawing emotionally when faced with conflict. These attachment patterns can be difficult to break without conscious effort and self-awareness. The challenge lies in recognizing these patterns and seeking relationships that offer healthier dynamics. But why does it take so long to recognize these unhealthy patterns? One reason is that love often blinds us to the reality of a situation. When we're in love, we can sometimes overlook or excuse behaviors that we wouldn't tolerate from a friend or family member. We might convince ourselves